What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where we're talking about all things that matter to me in the world of Marvel films. This is episode number 71, and in this episode we're going to talk about X-Men and Spider-Man. And let's first talk about X-Men. And what's going on is that Bryan Singer recently announced that he's going to be releasing the Rogue cut of X-Men Days of Future Past. And what that is an extended edition of X-Men Days of Future Past. And if you don't already know, Anna Paquin already filmed a lot of her scenes for X-Men Days of Future Past, but unfortunately they were cut out. Bryan Singer made the tough decision to completely cut out Anna Paquin, or at least 99% of Anna Paquin's scenes out of X-Men Days of Future Past, because he felt that that subplot really didn't add a whole lot to the story as a whole. As you already know, X-Men Days of Future Past, well, at least in my opinion, felt perfect to me. I thought it was the best installment in the X-Men franchise, and it was just done really, really well. And he felt that by keeping Anna Paquin's scenes in, it just made the plot feel loaded, like overloaded rather. It felt bloated, okay? And it felt like that it could use some trimming. And by doing that, we ended up getting the theatrical release of the film, which I thought was perfect, okay? So, which means to tell me that if they added this in, the film would feel really, really different, okay? It would almost feel like if you deleted her scenes, that means that the story as a whole would be the same. It's kind of like the Daredevil director's cut. When you add that director's cut in, or when you add all those extra scenes in, it's an entirely different movie. As a matter of fact, it made it feel better. But the fact is that it felt like an entirely different movie when you added those scenes in compared to when you take them out completely. And that's the same thing for X-Men Days of Future Past. He felt that he needed to take it out, and now, well, a lot of fans do want to see it, considering that the fact that there are a lot of fans of Anna Paquin as Rogue, as a Rogue character, and the only time we really saw her in the movie was at the end of the movie, when she was just in the background and you saw her walking around X Mansion. But other than that, like, it just felt like a cameo appearance, but she did film a lot of scenes. In fact, 17 minutes worth of her scenes will be added into the Rogue cut of the film, okay? He says that there are going to be 17 minutes of extended footage. There's going to be, of course, more Anna Paquin, and there will be new visual effects. Okay, so this is the Rogue cut of the film, which is essentially an extended edition of the film, and it will be out on July 14th on DVD and Blu-ray home video release. It's something that I'm going to get because I want to watch that version of the film. All right, I want to know what they filmed. All right, moving on, let's talk about XMen Apocalypse. And Bryan Singer is currently underway filming the final installment in the X-Men franchise, and that's where the X-Men go up against Apocalypse. And he tweeted a photo, and what this is kind of like a teaser photo, because what we get to see is the parents of the Summers brothers. Okay, if you don't know who the Summers brothers are, well, you should know. That would be Cyclops and Havoc. Scott Summers and Alex Summers. Scott Summers, a young version, will be played by Ty Sheridan, and Lucas Till, who played Havoc in X-Men Days of Future Past, will be appearing, well, both of them will be appearing as brothers in X-Men Apocalypse, because now we get to see their parents, and if their parents are there, that means there must be some scene which involves the brothers, okay? So Alex Summers will be there, Scott Summers will be there, and it'll be cool to see them working together as brothers, alright? Because they do have very similar superhuman abilities, mutant abilities rather. So very, very cool. Okay, moving on, let's talk about Hugh Jackman. And Hugh Jackman is, of course, one of the most famous mutants in the X-Men franchise, and that is Wolverine, aka Logan. And we heard a lot of rumors. We read a lot of rumors about Logan not coming back, or rather Hugh Jackman done reprising his role as Logan. Now here's the thing, I always thought that he could possibly come back if Disney gets the Marvel rights back from 20th Century Fox, okay? If they get him back, then it's possible that Hugh Jackman would want to come back as Wolverine, because he said that he wants to go up against Iron Man, okay? And which really did happen in the comics. Wolverine did join the Avengers, so he wants to see that happen. He would love to be a part of the Avengers, but it looks like that he himself confirmed that the Wolverine 3 will be the very last time he will play the Wolverine character, which is very, very sad. It's unfortunate. I mean, he's the definitive Logan, okay? I can't think of, you know, him not playing Logan, all right? So, XMen Apocalypse will be his second last time playing Logan, and then the Wolverine 3 will be his final run as Logan, all right? So, you know, a sad time for Wolverine fans, or rather Hugh Jackman Wolverine fans, but it looks like that is actually happening, and he made the tough decision to not play the character anymore, and his final run will be in the Wolverine 3, which will be filming very soon after X-Men Apocalypse, okay? Now, that tells us two things, and that is the Wolverine 3 will have some sort of closure ending, all right? It will have some sort of ending which tells us that, you know, he's going to walk to Earth, you know, or he's gonna like, that's a saying, okay? He's gonna walk to Earth, okay? It's from Kung Fu, if you guys didn't already know, or he's going to just he's gonna live in solitude or something like that. But there's no need to bring his character back in, all right? Now, not only this, but also Bryan Singer mentioned that X-Men Apocalypse is the end of the X-Men franchise. Like, he will not be back to be telling the story anymore, and that franchise officially ends. So with Hugh Jackman leaving, and Bryan Singer stating that the X-Men franchise officially ends with X-Men Apocalypse, that means, I'm going to just throw this out there, reboot or a whole bunch of spin-off movies, okay, like Deadpool and Gambit, alright? But if there's going to be reboot, they're going to want to bring back Wolverine, and if they're going to bring back Wolverine, then I'm going to throw these two names out there, Karl Urban as Wolverine, or Tom Hardy as Wolverine. What do you guys think? Alright? I think those are pretty sweet choices. I mean, I did pick them. So I think that these are two very ideal choices. Karl Urban played Dredd, okay? And Dredd has that kind of Wolverine type character. I don't know, that persona is still there, minus the ability to smile and be sarcastic. But, you know, Karl Urban, alright? Tom Hardy, you know, he's played badass characters before. He's played Bane, which is a very formidable super or comic book villain. You know, so I'm thinking that he definitely has the chops to play Wolverine. That'll be very, very cool. So those are my choices, okay? What are your choices? Let me know in the comment section below. And finally, let's talk about Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going to be retitled, or rather the Spider-Man reboot is going to be titled Spider-Man: The New Avenger, okay? This is a Sony and Disney collaboration, okay? It's not 100% Sony, so we can't put all the responsibility on them, but this will be a Disney and Sony collaboration, okay? Right now, they're looking for their Peter Parker, and like I mentioned before in a previous episode, they said they want to go for the high school look. Right now, their candidates have been shortlisted from 5 actors to 2 actors, okay? Asa Butterfield and Tom Holland. Now, I haven't seen any of Tom Holland's work, but I have seen the work of Asa Butterfield, and I've seen a recent photo of Asa Butterfield, and that's Peter Parker right there. Look at them. Look at this photo. This is Peter Parker at age 15, okay, or age 16. But that is the look that Marvel's looking for. They want to go for an actual teenager playing a teenager, not an adult playing a teenager. And I think that Asa Butterfield has that look. What do you guys think? These are your 2 choices right here, Asa Butterfield and Tom Holland. Now, there's not just the Peter Parker role that they have to fill, but the director, who's going to tell the story, okay? So, now we have a list of directors that are a bunch of frontrunners for the director's chair, all right? Jonathan Levine, who directed 50-50, Ted Melfi, who directed St. Vincent, Jason Moore, who directed Pitch Perfect, John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, who directed Vacation, and Jared Hess, who directed Napoleon Dynamite. Do you see a pattern here with these directors? These are all comedies. These are not just comedies, but also comedy dramas. Some of them being like, you know, some goofball-y type comedies, but for the most part, these are all comedies, and these are comedies that have that are very character-driven. with the exception of Vacation, all right? But not only that, these are comedies that have a certain level of quality to them, all right? And I think that, you know, we already know the direction of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We know the atmosphere and the tone of these films. They're all lighthearted and comedic in tone. And I think that this is a very solid list of directors, okay? I mean, look at this. I mean, 50-50, St. Vincent, Pitch Perfect, Napoleon Dynamite. Vacation is the directors for Vacation is probably the only ones that I'm thinking that maybe we should like pass on. But still, I still think that this is a very solid list. Now, if I were to choose, I would bring it down to 3 directors: Jonathan Levine, Anton Belfi, and Jared Hess. Now, if I were to narrow it down some more, I would say Jonathan Levine and St. Vincent. Now, if I were to take one from that list of 2, I'd say Jonathan Levine. If I really narrowed it down. The main reason why is because Jonathan Levine really gave us a story that was able to have a really great combination of emotional drama. Okay, and the story of Peter Parker is a very emotional one. There's a lot of emotional conflicts in that, and Jonathan Levine's storytelling in 50-50 was just perfect. After all, I did think it was my favorite film of that year when it came out. 50-50 was just a fantastic film, and I think he can really bring a really great balance of comedic tone to an emotional, character-driven story. So I'm gonna just put my bet on Jonathan Levine. Well, I'm not gonna put my bet on him. I'm not gonna bet that he's gonna be the one, but I'd like to see him be the storyteller for the new Avenger, and that would be Spider-Man. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section below. Who do you want to direct Spider-Man? Also, who do you think should be Spider-Man? Asa Butterfield or Tom Holland? And who do you think should be the new Wolverine? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, if you want to see more, you should hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, and also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name's Oxu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace. Totally different. And now here's a completely new design. A very very unique design. I mean, it's got the bat ears on the, you know, the fin.